All right. Welcome back to GoRacing Sim League official podcast, episode number 44. We've had a couple of weeks off between the last few podcasts. We've had the season end. We've had a couple of actual seasons in since we've last done a podcast. We have some special guests tonight. We've got multiple people here. I'll let Ken introduce them in a minute. But before we do so, let's quickly talk about our sponsors. Again, Julie Rupert at Main Street Travels. She does all things traveling, specifically focus as Disney, Universal, and cruises, but she can book anything. She is a travel planner. She does not charge you for any of the work she does. She just helps set up and take care of all of your fun. So yeah, please hit her up. She pays for all of our rewards. So anytime people receive money from the league at the end of the season, that's coming out of her pocket because she's sponsoring us. So again, please feel free, and it doesn't have to be you, but if you know anybody that's interested in doing a travel, point them our way. Just say, hey, Chris sent me your way because he knows somebody that was interested in going on a cruise, and she'll help them out. She loves doing it. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. It's fun for her. So hit her up.
It's not a job then if she likes it.
Exactly. Yeah. I bought her a computer a couple of years ago, a laptop, and I didn't know for Christmas. I was like, I'm not really sure what she's going to use this for. Well, now I know. She's on it almost every day, planning other people's vacations. So,
and a couple years ahead of that. Whoa, he's turning red over there.
He's turning on his lights.
Got to turn on the Red Bull screen.
All right. So, Ken, introduce our special guests today.
Well, I'm not sure how to situate in your screen, so I'm just going to go by names here. We got a lot of guys from Inglourious Bastards. We got Ed Adams and Chris Sawalich and Eric Essery, and welcome guys, and welcome to our podcast, and let's have some fun tonight.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And yes, we go way back with all these dudes, right, Ken?
Yes, we do. Probably 5 years on some of you guys, I would think.
At this point with the memory, I just go 5+.
Yeah, there you go.
Go with that.
I think that's pretty safe.
Yeah. So
Schultz was, I met him, I joined a league. He was one of the admins. I got out, didn't even get up to speed, and he was yelling at me for doing something wrong. So I said, I better listen to this guy.
Hey, I was an admin with him, and he yelled at me too. So it's normal.
There's a lot of bad stories about me out there.
Hey, well, Ken's a big teddy bear. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
He is, but not with me. He's mean to me.
Yeah.
Especially on the track. He's nice like this, but on the track, he's mean to me. All right, so appreciate you guys joining. So I'll tell you what, let's quickly, like each of you, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your racing experience, how we know each other. So I guess I'm going to go from left to right. So Chris, in red, I will go with you first, which, by the way, I will mention Chris was one of our original members back in October of 22. When we first started trying to race, he was racing with us. So, Chris, welcome.
Yeah, that's when I used to be good. I don't know what happened since then, but I've raced with Kevin and Ken and Ed, actually, and Eric, back in the day when we used to do a bunch of oval racing, and we've kind of evolved since then, moved on to a couple different leagues, and here we are. I hooked up with Kevin and Ken on the initial GoRacing Sim series, and had some fun, and kind of been there, kind of done some moving around the country, and hoping to get back in this season next year and go at it.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, so again, we go back with all three of you, but really, I think you were instrumental in bringing like Ed and a lot of the Inglourious Bastard groups over, because I think ultimately you brought Ed and Eric over, and then Ed, a lot of your other drivers that run in your group kind of joined it, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, we tried. I tried for a while to get Ed over here. He finally followed me over, and here we are.
He buckled.
He buckled. Yes. Actually, I think Eric followed us first, and then Ed decided to follow along behind them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, Eric, you ran with us for the first couple of seasons pretty strongly, and then you had to disappear for work for a while, right, Eric?
Yeah, that's right. Chris was the one who invited me over. I was wanting to do some more road racing. Only time I do road racing is for like the big events like Daytona coming up. and I want to do more. And then Chris told me about this, so I joined with you guys. And yeah, I work seasonally, so I'm just now kind of getting back in the groove where I can run more. And I kind of say I joined one of your IndyCar races a while back, but hoping to do more. And then, of course, right now we're focusing on Daytona, and that's what we were just doing tonight. So, but yeah, that's as far as everybody on here. Like I said, I was kidding about Schultz yelling at me. He was always a big help getting me going and making me feel welcome where I went. And then Roop, you got me in, with this league going on, and me and you, we just always find each other on the track. We have some epic battles, so that's always great to do too. But yeah, so that's.
I hate to break it to you, but if you and I are battling a lot on the track, that means you're slow.
Well, it's fast for me, so it's.
You are faster than me now, so.
I have improved. We've all improved. The problem is the rest of the league has improved as well. So it's like every season I feel like I'm doing better, but then the fast people are getting faster. So what are you going to do, right? And then Ed, wow, we go back, I can't, like you said, 5+ years. I mean, we raced forever. But look, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ed.
Well, recently turned 48 and been doing this sim racing thing since the internet allowed it, more or less, so part of that OG crew of NASCAR 2003, 2005, Papyrus, and then, life got in the way up and on with Army life and this and that, but ultimately the goal was to retire in the sim rig, basically doing what I'm doing now, enjoying good times with good friends of like mind, and so that's where we are. Loyalty is a big thing for me. So yeah, it took me a while to get over here to GoRacing, but I wanted to get more dedicated towards the road racing. And honestly, with the list of names you guys have on your roster, not only is everybody ballistically fast or has the potential to become ballistically fast, but probably the best mindset and just group of guys I've raced with. Everybody's just really chill with each other. It's hard to find these days.
Well, and I think it kind of goes to the philosophy of our league. I mean, yes, we are competing, right? There's no question about it. But we more wanted to put something together that was focusing on having fun, right? This same group of people getting together and having fun racing together. Sure, there's competition. Sure, there will be people getting angry at each other. But we didn't want to take the fun out of it. And I know, Ed, you were talking the other night. I can't remember who we were talking to, but you mentioned that we'd all kind of come from all these different leagues, and we sort of learned what we didn't want to do in a way. And that's kind of true. Like, there's certain areas where I didn't realize it at the time, but all the rules, all the stuff was taking a lot of the fun out of the racing. And we didn't really want to do that here. And yes, I'm not saying we're perfect, and I'm not saying we don't ever make mistakes, but that's why we don't have a page of rules, right? We don't have that because we want to have fun. We want a group of guys that are similar in mind, that enjoy running together, and we have fun, and then we compete. That's what we do. But it's more of a way to hang out every week, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I think you guys have nailed it. The core group is solid. The philosophy is solid. The racing is solid. Now let's just blow up 2024 with driver numbers.
Yeah, and I'm going to go, as a matter of fact, and I know the three of you weren't here the whole time, but one of the things, Ken, I wanted to do today is a year in review, and I've got 4 pages on my tablet of year in review, just to give you a heads up.
Oh, boy.
So let's grab some popcorn and some drinks here and settle down for a while.
Well, it's funny, as I was going through and looking at them, like how much I had forgot, right? Like, and when people joined, and like Chris, you were with us big time in the first season, but that wasn't this year. That was last year. And then you kind of started disappearing this year.
I'm sorry.
So you're not really much in this review other than a race or two here or there. But
well, Eric could be the same way.
Yeah, well, Eric, you were with us.
He did season 1 with us, and then season 2 was the summer one, and then he was gone with work.
Right.
Yeah. I joined. I ran up till about spring is when I was gone. So yeah, I ran a few races early on.
Yep.
But season 1 actually this year though was not our first season. Our first season was in October the year before.
Right.
And that's when Chris ran like every race with us.
Yeah.
The Blackner season.
The Blackner season.
Yeah.
You're right. He dominated, and then his work schedule changed, and he couldn't race with us anymore.
Which is a shame. I'd love to have him back.
Yeah. I would also like to
he's-
see how we stack up to him now
Yep.
as a league. Because that first season, he dominated. Okay,
Yeah.
anyhow, so what I plan, we'll do a quick year in review, talk about what all we've done in iRacing and Go Racing Sim, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do next year. That's my plan. Everybody here, feel free to interject at any time. Anything you have to say, feel free to share. I got a lot of stats and stuff I'm going to run down. So our first season this year was the GT3 season, and it started in January the 26th, and we started at Daytona, okay, which is very similar to what we're going to be doing this year. And believe it or not, this was our biggest season in terms of participation, not in total numbers. We have some other seasons where we had more drivers, but consistently more drivers per race. There were many races. We were right at about 30 drivers in the race.
Yeah, high 20s, yeah.
And I'm hoping that happens again this year. I really feel like we benefited from everybody did the 24 hours. They're ready to do these races. It's the start of the year. And so we got a lot of people that signed up. I'm hoping that happens again this time. Because this time, when we started the first season of 2023, we probably had a core of 15 drivers, wouldn't you say,
Yeah.
from the season before? And, we got up to 38 drivers throughout the season. So good numbers. We only had 3 winners the whole first season. Can you guess who they are?
Well, be one of the Bryant boys.
Not the Bryant boys.
Or
You're on the right
Ward
track.
boys.
You're saying
Ward.
it wrong.
The Wards.
Blackner season?
No, Blackner
No.
was the season before.
Ward. The Ward.
Okay, so the second season.
Definitely
Wards.
Ward.
Right.
Both
so
of the
Austin
Wards
Ward
probably.
won.
Yeah, you had Bryant and Austin.
Yeah, but Bryant never won. So Christian Correa, everybody knows Christian. I think he's still
Oh, yeah,
racing with
yeah.
us sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Where did he go?
We got 2. He had two wins. We had Austin Ward. That was the Ward season. So when you after the Blackner season, we kind of had the Ward season, and Austin won 6 races, and that was when Chris Miller joined, and he won 4 that season. But those are the only 3 people to win the whole season. In terms of the top 5, Austin won the season. Richie got second.
Yeah.
Richie Coy. Bryant Ward got 3rd. Chris Miller 4th, and then Shane finished 5th in our first season. So that was when I was like, we've actually got something going here. Because all of a sudden we had, we had fun, but we would have like 13 to 15 people every race. That was about all we had. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, we were starting a race with 30 people. I was like, oh, this was different. Then we moved into our spring season, and I think this was about when we lost you, Eric, because you had to start traveling to do your work. But that started in May at Monza is where we started there, and it ended in Lime Rock in July. So this was the summer break in a way as well. So this was the one time where we changed the rules up a little bit, if you remember, Ken, and we said, hey, we're going to go to 3 drops instead of 2
Yep.
because everybody's going to be going places, including
Vacations.
myself.
Yep.
But we had more winners that season. We had 5 winners that season. Chris Miller won 4 races again. There's a theme here.
Richie.
Colin Arnold, do you remember that name?
Sure.
He
Colin
won
Arnold,
3.
yeah.
He won 3.
Yeah, he was only with us a very short time.
Yep. Lewis joined us, I think, that season. I think that was his first season.
Yeah.
And he won 2. Rusty, who joined us the season before, came in and got 2 wins. And then Aldo. Do you remember Aldo?
Aldo Secklin?
Yeah. Damn, you're good with
Okay.
names. I've got it written down. I would have never remembered that. Good job. He got a win. So we had five different winners, 39 drivers total. In terms of the top 5 that season, Lewis won, Rusty got 2nd, Derek got 3rd, Michael Hutchinson 4th, and Chris Miller 5th. Now, Chris Miller got 5th, but he only raced 7 races that season, which is also a theme. He's not won a GT3 championship with us, but it's mostly because of missed races. I
Right.
think he would be in the running a lot more. Then we had our fall series, which was our last GT3 series. That one started in August 10th at Road America and finished up at Sebring. And we had 6 winners in that one. So it's gotten more every time, which is good to see, right?
Yep. Parity.
Chris Miller, once again, Not 4. This time he got 5. He got 5 wins. Lewis got 2. Brendan Harrison got 2. Derek got 1. Rusty got 1. And then, do you remember a Hector?
Yeah, briefly.
Yes.
Hector.
I must have been when I was out.
Yeah. Hector Colazzo or something like he got 1. I think he raced 1 race with us and got it and then left.
Won and got out, yep.
Which is interesting. We've had several people do that. We only had 31 drivers that season totally race with us. But we had a very consistent, like 18 to 20 cars every race.
Yep.
So, it was a consistent group, a good group, but it wasn't the number we saw that first season of 2023, right? There was a little bit more than that. Now, by the way, I forgot to mention, in the season before that is when we launched the Pro and the AM series. So, since we've got a group of people on here, what are your thoughts about that? About the fact that we sort of split a Pro and an AM?
I don't think there was many times on the racetrack that it affected what I was doing personally. Maybe one time I realized, oh, hey, that's a guy in a different class, so I don't need to push him at the end of the race or something like that. Otherwise, kind of mixed about it.
I don't know. I think it's really good. I mean, you can really look at who you're racing against, and really look at, it kind of gives you that satisfaction. You're racing against people that you can compete against, and then the pros go by you or whatever it may be, and it kind of makes it feel better when you're racing.
Yeah. Well, I know we had one instance the whole time. We only had one incident where somebody was mad that they were a pro and AM was racing them hard. But see, that's also in a way what I like about it, because yes, you're racing for different championship, but you're still battling for points during that race. And, if a pro passes that person, they're going to lose a point.
I think once we realized what was going on, we squelched it, and then the person understood where we were really kind of aiming at, and that kind of ended it right there, because the person finally figured out, hey, this is what they're trying to do, and we saw nothing wrong with it. We saw nothing wrong with the amateur giving the pro. Why should he pull over for the pro? He shouldn't.
Well, I mean, that's just it. At the end of the day, you're racing each other still. That's what I like about it.
And look at IMSA, right? The pros and the AMs, the GT cars, they're constantly battling for pole or the racing. Sometimes the AMs are ahead of the pros, and that's what makes it worth watching.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a great idea to have 2 point series within one, 2 championships within one.
I love
because it keeps everybody more incentivized to show up and race.
Well, and again, one of the reasons we rolled this out is we wanted a league that we accepted all, right? We wanted the good people. We wanted the people learning. But it is a little bit of a morale killer when you're constantly there's no chance for you to get a win or a race for a championship. And so by splitting it like we do, it gives you a little more to race for, right? Even if you're racing for top 3 in your series, in your class, you might actually be 10th overall, but you might get 3rd in your class, right? If you're in the amateur. So that was sort of why we did it, and I'm kind of glad we came up with it, because I do think it hopefully helped keep some people in the league. Because yes, we have some aliens in our league. We've got some people that they go out there and they race. They can beat the pros.
Maybe we should have age divisions.
Oh, farts.
Yeah, that could work.
There's no one in our group that's my age.
Are you the oldest? No,
no, I wouldn't be. Chris Payne's got to be
Chris
close
are
to my
about the
age.
same, right? But
I think Mikey Fredrickson's close to my age.
I think he might be closer to mine. I'm not sure.
You're not that far away from me.
Now you got 10 on me. You got 10 on me, man.
Yeah.
And
But by the way, we're talking about the Pro and Am. That first season we did that was when Lewis won the Pro and Rusty won the Am. And that was also, we said, if you win the amateur, you are next season a Pro.
Yep.
So he got shifted over to the Pro immediately that year.
how do I get downgraded from Pro to Am?
We're going to talk about that. Give me a minute. We will talk about that. That is on my list.
You got it.
You're probably in good shape. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, if you never show up, you go from Pro to Am.
True. That helps too. Now, going back to the fall season, we still had the Pro and Am that season as well. Lewis, again, won the Pro, and then Will Kelly won the AM. Now, is Will one of your group? Did you all bring Will over?
No, he's part of the affiliate group.
Okay.
We keep them to the side.
But he's here because of you all.
But he's good. He's a good dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a pro. He's a pro next season because
Yep.
he won the AM that season.
He's a good driver.
We also,
fast.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He was up there.
all the Point Break guys are pretty good. Him, Brandon, Chris, all those guys. Samson.
Now that season we also did a teams thing just for fun, not a team series, but everybody created their own teams, and that team, the W&R Racing, won. There was no money, there was nothing. It was just for bragging rights, but they won the team series that season as well. Now one of the things we did throughout this year, I just talked about 3 different seasons that we ran, but we also did a year-long season.
Yep.
And we called it the official IMSA. And that's because every official IMSA race on the schedule, the real schedule, we built into our seasonal schedule and made those 20 minutes longer races and counted those separately as a separate season. So, in essence, you were running for 2 championships sometimes during one race. Mm-hmm. And that we started in Daytona. The first race of the year started that because it was the Daytona. And it ended in October 12th at Road Atlanta. We had 7 different winners in all those races, and we had 49 drivers compete in those races.
Wow.
49 different drivers throughout the seasons. The 7 winners, can you guess one of them? Chris Miller. He got 3. Rusty got 2, Lewis got 2, Brandon Harrison got 1, Austin Ward got 1, Christian Correa got 1, and Aldo got his one and only win, was also one of those. So it was a wide variety of winners. We had a lot of drivers. It was an interesting thing. I liked it so much we're doing it again because it actually helped us with, for example, Richie, who won it, by the way. He ran one season with us full and then decided just to focus on those races after that. And that's great. If we have 4 or 5 people that just want to run those races only, that's fine because that still gives us driver count in 3 to 4 races a season.
Yep.
Right? So Richie got first, Derek got second, Rusty was third, Lewis was fourth, and Lane Allen was fifth.
That's right.
Now, he doesn't just run those, though. Lane's been running most of the races with us.
He's run most of the races with us, yes, and that's great to see. And there's another guy that me and you have raced against quite a bit over the years, Kevin.
Right, yep. But that's not all we did. So that was our main series, but we also tried our hand at throwing some oval into the mix. Now, it's interesting because every one of you here on this call, we all got to know each other running oval races.
Yep.
And we tried to build an oval series inside the league, but the problem is we built the league around road racing. And most of those people that race with us on Thursday could give 2 shits about running on an oval.
That's right.
So we don't have a great foundation to get the oval going. So we're going to try again. We're trying to get again. But we started off with the Gen 4 oval car, which to me is my favorite if you're just running ovals because it has a lot of horsepower. So Eric, you weren't around for that. I think you would enjoy that car, Eric, if you haven't ran any laps in it. Yeah, you probably have.
Yeah, the more horsepower, more throttle. I want to drive them, not run wide open.
Exactly. It's a lot of you turn the car with the throttle, right? It's a lot of fun. Now we only had 20 drivers that season show up for it, which 20 would be great if it was always 20. But by the end of the season, it became like 9, 10 people, maybe.
At that, we were lucky.
Yeah.
It was so much fun though, and I don't get why people fell off, but those high horsepower cars on those short tracks was so much fun.
Well, and that was our initial. So I guess in a way we started off behind the 8 ball because we made it as difficult as possible. We said let's take the hardest to drive oval car and put it only on short tracks. Right, that was our initial thing.
That car was an iRacing mistake.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was a mistake, right,
iRacing made the mistake by putting the wrong motor into that car. It was a regular ARCA car, but they put too much motor in the damn thing, and people loved it.
It's not a real car.
What's that?
It's not a real car.
No, it's not.
But we ended up changing mid-season and adding mile and a halves to try to encourage people because it was difficult on the short tracks, which, again, is why we liked it. But it's not great to try to build a league around the most difficult car on the hardest tracks.
Yeah.
Right? The people that are new, maybe they don't like it, right? So, anyways, we had 4 different winners. We had Chris Miller, won 5. Shane got 5. How do we say Shane's last name?
That'd be Papala.
Shane Papala got 5. Ken,
1.
you got 1. And Ray Smith, which was somebody that raced with us in the past.
Yep.
Where did he go, by the way? He disappeared. He got 1.
He disappeared.
So anyhow, it was fun, but it wasn't what we call successful. So then we said, let's mix it up. Let's try it again. Let's try the Indy car.
Yeah.
Now, I know, Ed, you raced there, and Chris, you ran a couple too. Well, actually, I think Eric, you ran one too, didn't you?
Yep.
I had a fucking blast in that car. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was grinning every time we got in the race. It was fun. I did not expect it to. I really only ran a few races in that car. I had a lot of fun. It was kind of, I was learning as I was going, right? Because, yeah, we had a lot of oval experience, but not in that car. And there were so much differences, like some of the settings you could do and how it really, and how they became fuel strategy. I never expected that, right? Like everybody was messing with the fuel strategy
race. Yeah.
I know, Adam, you had a lot of bad luck.
It wasn't all that great on that side of things. But you know what? I love the IndyCar. The fact that you got that one car and you can go oval and road, and yet they're 2 very distinctly different types of racing with that car. You know? But yeah, good old Mother Luck was not on my side during that season. But yeah, it was a blast.
You
I don't understand.
I'm sorry, Eric.
Yeah, I just never understood why IndyCar is not run more with, in iRacing. It just seemed like there's a small group. Of course, the Indy 500 when that got taken away, but that's like a major series in American motorsports, and yet you just don't see a ton of it. So when I saw you guys run it, I made sure I got into one because you just don't see it much, and it's something I'm interested in.
Well, I read that, so, they pulled away from iRacing, and to the point where, like, if I put up, I would put up a hosted race to try to recruit, and I would call it Indy Recruiting Race, they would delete the word Indy from my name of my race because I guess Indy and them had some lawsuit going. I'm not sure. But I did read that Indy is now, there's getting ready to be an announcement with iRacing this year or 2024.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk. I don't know how much is substantiated, but yeah, hopefully it happens because I want that Indy 500 back.
Ed, you said, though, it was a car that you could go on the road and you could do the oval. And, you would say, well, you could do that in the Cup car too, but it's different. You put that – I actually enjoyed the Indy car on the road courses more than the oval. I thought they were a blast to drive. Like, I really enjoyed them on the road courses. They were fast. They were so fast. But yeah, I had a blast. I wish it had picked up a little better in terms of, people. But I also thought it felt like even when we were on a big oval with, say, 12 cars, it never felt empty because we were always together.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm thinking 30 Indy cars on an oval is like, wow. I mean, you're going to be guaranteed you're going to need a shower probably after that thing because you're just going to get a workout, sweat, heart rate. It'd be nonstop action.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the oval Indy season, which isn't really oval, it was oval and road. We had 26 different drivers. Now we did get some of our road course veterans to come in and race with us a little bit when it hit the road courses. They actually came over, but most of them still didn't join us. We had 4 different winners. Chris Miller again got 6 wins in this. Shane pulled off 3. Edson, do you remember Edson?
Yeah.
He ran 2 races with us.
Yeah.
And he won 2 races.
2 races, yeah.
And then he disappeared. And then Derek had a win as well. Yep. So that was a lot of fun. Maybe we try it again sometime. I don't know. But we're not done, Ken. We still did one more thing.
We had a 6-week series at the end here, and that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. So we ended in like October-ish with our GT3 series.
Yeah, it was early. Yep.
And we're like, okay, not enough time to do another full season. What can we do? And we kind of put the word out there. Everybody came up with ideas, and we ultimately decided on let's do a endurance, quote unquote endurance is only 2 hours, team event where you have to change drivers. And we had 10 teams initially. I think by the end we ended up about 6 running pretty consistently in the last 3 races. But it was only a 6-week season. And out of the 10 teams, we did have 2 winners. 2 winners only. It's kind of dominated. The
Very
WR
dominated.
team. Sorry, what was that?
I was saying very dominated. Those guys did great.
Yeah. So Eric and Lewis and WR, they won 5 of the races. And then 10 tenths won 1. And 10 tenths, that would be Chris and Chris, right?
Yep, Chris Payne, Chris Miller, yep.
Yeah, which wasn't originally Chris Payne and Chris Miller. It was Chris and Alex, I think was his name. And that was the whole drama of this season. That, it is what it is.
Yep.
But anyhow, we had, that was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed that too. Even though we didn't have huge car counts, it still was fun because that brings kind of what we're all talking about with the 24 hours coming up, right? It's the whole more hanging out and even, it's just as fun not to drive, but to sit there and talk to the driver and help them out in a way. So, and Chris, you ran one race, didn't you, Chris?
Yeah, I ran one race with
Tyler, wasn't it?
Tyler. Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember who I ran with. Yep, that was fun. It was when I just finished my move. I got my rig set up and I was able to run with him. It was fun. Yep. I think.
And then Ed, I know you ran. I think you and I, our teams were pretty competitive against each other. We were around each other quite a bit. I will say though, it seems like every race, something confusing would happen with your team that would always throw me off. Like you would do an extra pit stop, or like you'd always be ahead of us, and then you get to the race and you're like, "What the hell happened to Ed's team?" And you'd be behind for some reason.
I think we figured out every way possible to screw up the season with that one. Doug and I, we talked when that fired off, and we were like, you know what, we're just going to split it equally. We're just going to do this to have fun. We'll split the car equally. And then we pretty much figured out too late that was a major disadvantage as far as being competitive went. And then that led into just a series of really bad engineer mistakes. Cough, cough, look in the mirror. Yeah.
Well, I think crew chief. Ken had a crew chief mistake one time, didn't you, Ken?
Oh, I had a huge one. Yeah.
He brought the driver in and didn't give him tires or didn't give him gas. It was gas,
Didn't give him
right?
Fuel. Yeah.
You don't need gas.
No, that was awful.
We're not going to give you what you pulled in for, no.
He's driving a Tesla.
Yeah,
exactly.
There you go.
So just a couple of accomplishments I wrote down for the year, right? Again, I'm not looking back to the first October season. I'm looking at just this year. This is very unscientific. It's not easy to go through and pull up all this stuff because, unfortunately, the tool we use doesn't summarize everything for me. And then, like last season, the teams when I had to do manually because the tool didn't do it. But I was looking and I did some calculations and a couple of shout outs. One, I want to give a shout out to Chris Miller. Obviously, we all know he's an alien out there on the track. It doesn't seem to matter what fucking car you put him in. He's still going to be up front. He had 24 wins in our league this season. That's the oval and the road courses. So I'll give a shout out to him. Ken, I'm going to give a shout out to you. I did the math, and it looks like you ran in 70 total races in our league this year.
And how many did we have?
Well, I don't know, so let me ask you this, Ken. How many did you miss? 2?
1.
1?
I think 1 race. I'm trying to even think if I missed that one.
Is it point series races, or does this also count the off season?
This counts everything where we did points for and tracked.
How about the endurance?
It counts endurance.
Oh, then I missed 3.
Okay, you're right because you were just a backup driver. Okay,
I was a backup driver who ended up full-time chores.
So we ran like 73, 74 races as a league.
Yeah.
And Ken made 70. But I also was looking, and in terms
need
of
a life.
Do what?
I need a life.
Yeah, you do. And then I looked at so Ken and I obviously we're admins. We run in the league. We focus on this, right? Like I feel like I won't say as a leader, but it's always my model. Is I want to lead by example, so I try to show up as much as I can. But I do a lot of traveling, so I'm going to miss a lot of races. But a non-admin, I'm going to give a shout out to one of our original members, not you, Chris, because you'd be on the opposite end of this spectrum because you didn't make a lot of races, is Derek Wynn.
Yeah.
Derek joined first season, and he's ran, if I did it right, 59 to 60 races with us. There were several seasons he didn't miss a race. And also, like you, Chris, and this is where I'll give a shout out to both of you, Derek helped bring in additional members to the league.
Yep.
And that's always extremely appreciated, right? Like, everybody I know, that's not true, but most of the people that I race with consistently, I'm racing with here. They're already here. I don't have a lot of other people to pull from. And the only way I could try to get them is try to convince them to leave other leagues. And I'm not doing that. I'm not reaching out to people and trying to convince them to leave leagues. That's just not how I roll. So I really do appreciate it when you all bring additional people, right? I mean, that's the only way this league's going to grow. So, Derek did a lot of that. Chris, you brought Eric and Ed, and then you all brought some of the additional people in, and, that makes a difference. So I want to give all of you a shout out for that and say thanks. And I'll toast you with some eggnog moonshine.
Eggnog. Awesome.
I don't have eggnog moonshine, but I'm with you.
I'll chase it with some banana bread beer.
You guys are killing me. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in over a decade, man. I need to go get the damn bong out of the kitchen.
I was going to say, take a hit. We know you got one sitting next to you somewhere.
Like, really, who else is around? Like, me and Derek from the first season. Like,
not counting, you and Derek.
And obviously you and Ken.
Me and Ken and Shane. Because we're the ones that started
Shane.
it.
I forgot about Shane. I don't know how much is left from the initial season.
Mikey Fredrickson.
Mikey.
Oh yeah,
Mike.
my buddy
100%.
Yep.
You know what? I need to go back and do the math. No, Fredrickson. The reason he doesn't match Derek is because he quit half a season.
Ovals.
He gave up on one season.
He did.
Yeah, he's scared of going around in circles. Yeah. I had some conversation with him. He's scared to turn left.
Well, it's not just that though. There was one season in the GT3 halfway through. He said, "I'm going to take a break." So, but he is another person. Definitely deserves a shout out. He is an original member. We need to get some T-shirts made, Ken, for the original Founders Club or something.
There you go.
And send it out to him. Chris, you'd get one. Assuming maybe we put
he gets a short shirt.
I'll be back. I'm coming back for the GT.
Let's give him a short mesh shirt, one of those you can see all the way through.
I love
okay,
you
so
guys.
that was our year in review.
His schedule, he got a lot of holes in it.
some mesh.
So as I was putting this together, though, I was like, "Damn, we've done a lot in a year."
We have.
I mean, it's not like we're one of these leagues that runs the A car, the B car, the C car, but we started from nothing and we ended up with 70-something races and 3 different cars total?
And then we do these silly podcasts once in a while.
Yeah. And interestingly,
even the podcast have evolved.
It's weird though when Ken and I ask people, "How'd you find their league?" or whatever, we've had people say, "I watched your podcast," and I don't know how the fuck they found our podcast, but they watched it. That and Reddit. Reddit's the other one I hear. But the funny thing I've learned, Reddit's a great tool for recruiting, but it's not an immediate tool. They're seeing things from a month or two ago. They come upon it and join. Like, I've never posted on Reddit and within that week get people to apply. It's always way later where they find it and join. So whatever, it works, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how Reddit works.
Yeah, I like Reddit. Reddit's like social media, but you're more anonymous and people don't follow you. And anyway, but you got to be careful. You can go down some really dangerous rabbit holes on Reddit. Okay, so that was the whole year. I want to thank everybody for attending and for racing and making it a lot of fun. Honestly, we had one situation really that was ugly to a degree, and I take most of the blame on that because I wasn't outright straightforward in telling people this is how we're doing it. I know you're here. But so that was more on me than anybody else. But overall, I think it was a great year, and hopefully we grow.
I'll be honest with you, Kevin. I think we said it enough during our podcast that what was what and all that. That it didn't mean exactly 45 minutes.
Yeah, but I could have put it in the rules.
It had to be close.
I could have put it in the rules. I could put it in the rules. I could have said something before the races. And as a matter of fact, the race that happened, I was going to say something, and we started talking before the race got going, and I didn't say anything at all. Like, I didn't say, thanks for joining, take it I didn't say anything. I literally said nothing that race.
Yeah, and ever since that race, we haven't been on the same channel.
Yeah, that's true, too.
Yes. Blame me.
No, we weren't on the same channel that time, actually, now think about it.
Oh, yeah, but after that, we weren't.
All right, so let's talk about this year, or next year. I say this year, but that's a couple of days away.
2024.
Especially because we have a quorum. We've got people here. I love ideas. I love opinions. Nothing is set in stone yet. So anything I say can change. Okay. And I want opinions here. So obviously we're continuing with the GT3 series. I'm going to quit calling it IMSA series because it literally is the GT3 series. We're running the GT3 car. That's what we're running. Yeah. Now I'll go ahead and jump to something, Ed, you and I were talking about the other night. You mentioned having some situation where maybe we can have the pros and the AMs run different cars.
Yeah, that's something that I would like to see on track. When there is a specific pro am, two different categories, if they're in two different complete division of cars, it makes things real fucking easy. Knowing who's who on the racetrack, and having that split in speed, I think would be pretty damn awesome to see.
I don't disagree with you. But let me tell you, let me be the devil's advocate here. First one, a lot of people that are racing this league, I don't know if they join because they like the GT3 car, right? Like maybe that's why they decided to run this league, because we're running the GT3 car. And now if I say you're a pro and you guys drive the whatever LMP2 or whatever we say, maybe some people wouldn't like that. That's just one thing. That's not as big of a deal, but here's the big deal. Because this is something I definitely want to do again, and I'm planning on doing again, and that is the year-long season. Now, the year-long season that we do is not broke down by Pro-Am. It's literally, here's the 10 races or whatever, and those points carry over season after season to a total. And it would definitely not make it fair if the pros were in a faster car. They're always 100% going to finish way ahead of the AMs. AMs would never have a chance in the year-long season. So those are my concerns with making that switch. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Plus there's drivers that change between amateur to pro if they win 1, 2, or 3 season.
Right. It's definitely more work on the back end for you guys.
Or how do you classify new people?
Well, so right now we already have a way we classify new people, and I'm not saying it's great, but I pulled up a lot of statistics on iRacing and kind of found what the average iRating was for road courses, and it was 1550. So I set that as the mark. Anything over 1550 was pro. Anything below it was an amateur. That's how, if I don't know you, if you've never raced with us at all, and you apply, that's how I start you. It's based on that. Now, there's been people that come in with like 1,300, and we immediately realize, oh, this needs to be a pro. And we've even made a shift or two at a time. I think Kerry's a good example of that.
Yeah.
He came in, and we immediately moved him up. Because you can. But you can't come in at 2,500 and ask to be moved down to an amateur. That I'm not going to let. So that's how we initially do it, Chris. Again, it's not perfect, but it's, especially as the seasons have moved on, it seems to have worked pretty well, I would say. But anyhow, but that's my reason, Ed, for I like the idea. I'm not against the idea, but I worry. But for starters, we would have to change our season-long thing to a pro and an AM. We'd have to have a pro and an AM season-long champion. Wouldn't be just
I think it would be only worthwhile to try as the off season or a small 6-week type event.
Right. And not that I'm saying we're going to or need to or want to, or we start a Wednesday night series, just for example, where that's something that's completely different, right? I mean, that would be another way of doing it. Ken's like, no, I raced too many last year already.
I'm shocked, dude, and I'm in Ken's corner. I want to be in Ken's corner. I want to see a effing dirt racing, man. I want to see some dirt oval racing. I really do.
Don't get Ken fired up.
Well, we were going to do some for fun, but by the third fun race, people disappeared. We never got to the oval, the dirt oval that was on the schedule when we tried to do that. Okay, so anyhow, next season, GT3, the schedule is already out there for people if you haven't looked at it. Let me pull it up myself here. Now, I built the schedule off of the polls that we put out there, but we put a poll out, and I got a lot of votes on tracks. And once we factored in all the official IMSA races, there wasn't enough spots to put what everybody voted in for. So I've actually already built out the first 2 seasons schedule, just so you know. So I have the first 12 weeks, and then I have the second 12 weeks. So the first 12 weeks, we're going to race Daytona. Then we're going to hit Red Bull. By the way, the Daytona is an official race, so it's 80 minutes. Then we're going to hit Red Bull Ring, Silverstone, Bathurst. I love Bathurst. I don't ever have a good finish there, but damn, I love that track. Brands Hatch, Spa, Sonoma, Sebring, another official IMSA. That would be another additional 20 minutes. Road America, Circuit Zandvoort. Did I say that right?
I think whatever.
Never been there.
Yeah, you got it.
I'll have to buy it. If I can't pronounce it, I got to buy it.
Le Mans, and then we got Long Beach. We round out the season. Long Beach which was another IMSA. So that is the schedule for the first 12 weeks. Just like last year, we're going to continue on with 2 drop weeks. So, ultimately we count just your top 10 races. So really no changes, honestly, going in. Now, the one area that we could potentially talk about changing, Chris, you mentioned this, was the Pro and the Am. So I was looking at the Pro-Am and kind of how we sort of finished out the year and where people landed. And there has been people reach out, not you, Chris, but another Chris reached out and sort of requested, can I move to the Am? And I looked sort of where they lined up overall, and it made sense, right? There is a group of people. It's not a large, but there's a handful of people who are at the bottom of the Pro. When you look at their points, they could race in the amateur. So if you're one of those people, Chris, for example, actually I don't have enough points to look at from the last few seasons, but
yeah, I haven't run enough to make a determination.
But I think we would let you if you wanted to. Even Ed, like you ran right there in that group.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you looked at my points, I'd be at the bottom of the Pro near the top of the Am.
Ed's totally an amateur.
Fuck you, buddy.
So if you're one of those that's running near the bottom of the Pro and you think you would rather run against the amateurs, reach out to Ken or I and let us know. I'm not saying 100% yes, okay? Because, there's some people, maybe your finishes haven't been great, but it's not because you're not fast. It's just because either A, you're a little too aggressive, or you just had a lot of bad luck.
There's people faster than us.
Yeah. There's definitely people faster. But I can tell. We also have the opposite in the amateur. There are some people that are amateurs that honestly don't need to be amateurs, but because they seem to can't put the whole season together, they can still sit in the amateur area. Mikey is a perfect example. Mikey has races where he is competing for a win, right? But when you put the whole season together, he's always near the top of the amateur, but he's not the winner, right? But he could easily be there if he would just put the races together, right?
Did he run season 3 as a pro? Mm-mm. He did not. He was an AM, huh?
Nope, he was an AM, and I think he finished second or third.
Okay, Will Kelly. Oh yeah, that's right. It was between him and. Oh no, John Enriquez was right up there though.
I'm just looking here at my notes. So he finished. Yeah, I don't know, like second or third as an amateur. He didn't. Actually, I think it might have been third or fourth. I think his son beat him.
Yeah,
for second.
John was really close. He was the closest one
Yeah,
to Will.
John was because Will's already moving up. So
Yeah.
anyhow, so if you're interested in moving and you've been racing with us for a while, let me know and we'll look at it on a 1-by-1 basis. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay, Chris, moving you to the amateur if you want to be an amateur. What I don't want to do is say, Chris, I'm moving you to the amateur.
Right out on the podcast. I see that.
Because, by the way, if you're an amateur, no matter how good you run, if you say you want to run in the Pro Series, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's no big deal. But when we looked at our point breakdown this year, it was broke down pretty good. Like we had it lined up about the way it should. We didn't have, I think Will Kelly, he was our amateur winner. And I think when you looked at he had been like 5th or 6th, something like that overall. So, it lined up. It wasn't.
And he started slow, but he really got going towards the end of the season. He was a force.
I was
the first couple races,
I thought he started off hot and then slowed down.
Yeah, I don't trust the point break guys. Seriously.
Yeah, you ever played DCS with them? This is a bunch of Germans.
Seriously.
All right, so that's what we're doing. So just so everybody knows, I told you I've already got the schedule built out for season 2 as well. Just to give you an idea, again, all the IMSA official tracks are already in here. We're going to run VIR, Suzuka, Laguna Seca, Monza, Nürburgring, Detroit, Belle Isle, Barcelona, Imola, Watkins Glen, COTA, Canadian Tire, and maybe the Chicago Street Course.
Man, I am shocked COTA made the list again.
Nürburgring GP?
Do what?
Yeah, GP.
Okay.
GP course.
Yeah. And again, this was looking at what everybody voted on. There was more vote. There were enough tracks where I was able to actually split it across both seasons. So, even if the track you voted for didn't make it to season 1, it made it to season 2. Mm-hmm. So, and then also some of the tracks were voted on, we were already running in a season because of the IMSA official. So I moved them around that way a little bit. So in essence, we've kind of got the first 2 seasons already built. Those are all the tracks we're going to run in those first 2 seasons. So yeah, there that is. We talked about the Pro-Am, so we're good there. So what else are we doing new next year, Ken?
Well, on our Tuesday night, we're going to run, I believe, a 36-week season broken into 3 12s. Right now, it looks like the A-car.
Yeah, so everybody listen to me on this because this is also going to be different. Kind of going with what we did with the IMSA, where we mixed the IMSA championship in with the individual seasons. We're going to do the same here. So I made the commitment, okay, if we really want to grow oval, we have to pick something, we have to stick with it. Not saying the Cup car is the best car. I think out of most of us here, that would not be the car we would choose. But when you look at the participation online, and every time we throw a race out there and put the Cup car, the turnout is so much higher than it is on the other cars. So that's what we decided to go with. Even though we have people, admins, who are personally against the A car, like hardcore, because he doesn't like it in real life for real legitimate reasons. Shane's got major issues with it, and I understand. But so that's what we're going to go with. So we're going to make a full year commitment to it. Like if we're going to build this damn thing, we've got to commit to it. Bouncing around from one car to the other car is going to keep us at 10 to 12 people a race.
Yep.
Agreed.
So we're going to commit to it, but we don't want to do like a full year right off the bat. So we're going to break it down into 3 12-week seasons, right? We're going to race the actual NASCAR schedule completely as is. If they're off a week, we're off a week. We're not going to throw other races in.
If there's a road course, we're going to a road course.
Yeah, we're doing whatever they're doing. But they're going to be broken to 3 different seasons, and we are going to have a year-long season. So, in essence, every race counts towards 2 different championships. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the question. I want everybody's opinion on this. If we do that, let's assume, knock on wood and everything else, that we can get a decent car count up. Do we want to do playoffs that last season or not? Now, listen to me, because you have to wrap your head around this for a little bit. At first, I thought, well, playoffs, that means that nobody else is going to want to run in it besides the people that make the playoffs. But keep in mind, it's also a separate season. So the people racing in those 12 races or whatever it is, they're racing for a championship in that 12. But yet we still got the playoff going on for the year. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It does. I know where you're going on that.
It's a little complicated. The more I drink, the less I understand it.
I'm a big fan of the old school point racing.
Which is what we would do the 3 seasons.
Right.
It's just the year long, do we want to throw in the playoff system format or not?
I love the playoffs, but where does the playoffs cut off to where the rest of the
Whatever it is in real life.
season cutted? Right?
Real life. Whatever the real life is.
So playoffs is top 12 or 10 or
16,
whatever.
16, isn't it?
16.
Yeah.
Right? So you're battling for top 17.
But
I just hate that it comes down to one race.
no, I don't disagree. Listen, if I had my druthers in real life, it would get rid of the playoffs. It would just be the way it was when I grew up watching it where, yes, unfortunately, sometimes 3 or 4 races before the season's over, you knew who won, but whatever. That's the way it is for us most races anyways, right? But still, that's something that we can still talk about.
That's something we got 6 months we can talk about before we have to even worry about it.
You're right.
I love the whole NASCAR schedule. Like, we've all run leagues that have been the full, and it's cool to have the whole schedule, right? But yeah, it just drones on for so long.
Right. So this breaks it up, right? Like it breaks it up. You're really racing 3 different championships, but then at the end, we have for the people that raced all year and were there, they're racing for something else as well.
I like it. I like it.
So
Because it's so hard to make from February to October. It's just a lot of races.
yeah, and so in our 12 race seasons, we drop 2 races a season. We would need to come up with a number that we're dropping for the full year as well, or not.
No.
Well, if you drop for
got
the
your
season,
you got your 2 drops during each season. I would just
No, but you're saying for the full year, we count everything. There's no drops. So like for the IMSA, official IMSA, we still dropped 2 races at the end of the season.
what are you dropping for the quarterly seasons or the whole season?
The whole season. You literally ignore the quarterly when you when you're looking at the.
Well,
the
we did a complete.
season one.
When we did the IMSA series, we had 1 drop.
Was it 1? Okay, we still had a drop.
We had 1 drop.
But here's the difference. That's like 10 to 12 races versus 30-something races.
I'd say you reward your drivers who showed up all the time.
I agree.
Well, and we have 30-something races.
agree.
The odds of somebody making it every race go down anyways. Like, you might miss a couple of races, but most people are probably going to miss a couple of races.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric? You've been kind of quiet.
Yeah, when it comes to points, I do not like playoffs. But since this is online, I mean, people got jobs just like me. You got life that happens. There should be a little, a drought race or whatever. But since, if it does play along with real life playoffs, so that is part of it. And you still got the other full points race going on. So, I do like that as well. So as one of my favorite movies quotes, I'm with you fellas.
My initial thought was basically, since we're doing 3 seasons, we'd say you can drop 3 races. That was my initial thought. But I'm not against not dropping any. Not dropping any makes it a lot easier because everybody knows exactly when they look at it where they stand. Right? At the end of every...
let's face it, we all have lives, right? And we, to build a league and to get people involved, you need to have that little piece. Well, maybe not Ken, but the rest of us.
Well, another thing too, you guys have that way of putting in bonus points for safe races and things. Maybe there's a bonus for the guys who do show up every week.
Like end of the season bonus for a participation bonus?
There you go. We're in a participation world culture
I
now.
hate
Might
the
as well
SR
give them
bonus, but yeah, I like the participation bonus.
I'm in the boat with Ken. If you make the race and you get points, you get points. And if you don't, you don't.
It sounds like that we are.
But we all have
undecided.
lives, and that's where I get into it. Because obviously I have a toughest life. I've been around in the last couple months, but we all have lives that get in the way. So how do you balance that and keep people engaged? Because it's very easy to go, you know what, screw it. I had something come up in my life, and now I can't compete, and I'm just not going to compete in the rest of it.
What bothers me, it doesn't bother me personally, but what bothers me with other people is when they're out of it, they just say screw it and they quit coming. Right?
Yeah, it's the same mentality as a driver that starts doing poorly in a race and just fucking eats himself.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's, like for me, put my ability to the side. Let's leave that out there. I'm never going to battle for a championship because I'm just gone too much, right? Like every season, I'm going to miss a few races. And it still hurts me even when we have drop weeks because that means my bad races, if I have a bad race where I finish last, I can't drop it because I'm dropping the weeks I didn't show up, right? So it still hurts me, but it doesn't keep me from racing, right? Because I still have fun. I like to come out and race. But there are people who literally, once they're out, if they don't have a chance to win, they say, fuck it, and they go home. I'm taking my car and going home. I can't stop that, right? That's just how it is. So, but again, we're not talking about the individual seasons. We are building those into those. It's just the formal, official year-long season, which, let's just be honest, kind of means more. If you, in my mind, if I look at it, like I did more here than this whole. But I don't know. We'll still talk about. I don't think we have a consensus here. It's what I'm not hearing. I'm hearing don't drop. I'm hearing do drop. So.
Yeah, for you, right? Like, so everybody has it. Somebody wants to win a race, and they're happy with that, and somebody wants to win the season. So it's how do you balance that, right?
Right.
Maybe have an injury clause. If you break a leg or you break an arm, you got 2 weeks. You can have drop.
Well, I mean, that's what NASCAR does now. That's where the whole playoffs really made things different, right? Now, we've seen the pictures of Ricky Rudd taping his eyes lids up after that flip. It was a Daytona or whatever.
Daytona, yeah.
He broke his leg. You're right.
Yeah, and nowadays, was it Kyle Busch missed what, like 6-8 weeks, and then come back and win a championship?
Yep.
Nolan Pace, both of them.
Yep.
So it is. They have changed it the way it is in the real world. But okay, we'll table that. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out what we want to do there. But anyhow, that's our plans. Now, my ask for everybody is help us with this Oval Series. This is going to be the toughest. Well, I've learned the Oval is the hardest to build, mainly because there's so much competition out there.
Yep.
I'm not asking anybody to go to their friends and pull them from another Oval Series, right? We've got friends running in other Oval Series around the same time, and I'm not going to ask them to leave to join us. But if you know somebody that might be interested, and if you're one of our road guys on Thursday, give it a try. Like, come in for a season. You might have fun. What do you say, Ken?
I'm not scared. I don't like road course racing, number one. But I do it because I like being with my guys. And that's important. But I'm not one of these guys like you, Kevin. If they're going to have more fun in our league, God damn it, come over and join us. That's the way I'm not.
But see, we have. Let's just go back to our previous league we raced in. We've got several people that come over and run in this league with us.
Yep.
Right. If we were poaching, it would get ugly. But we're not poaching.
No, we don't want to. But we want them aware that hey, we're a pretty good league. We're going to be a lot of fun to be with.
Yeah. By the way, didn't say it. It's a fixed setup. I didn't. That is key to note. It's fixed setup. It's not an open league, by the way. That's
right.
Makes a difference to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. It does. Save a lot of money by staying fixed.
One other thing that I failed to mention that we're doing differently in the IMSA GT3 is we're having changing start times. So every race isn't running at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Last season we did a lot of night races to mix it up, and that was a mixed bag. Some liked it, some hated it. This time we're literally mixing it up. We'll have morning races, we'll have afternoon, we'll have early afternoon, we'll have late afternoon. So, what I think it was, who was it came to me with this?
Hutch.
Nope.
Wasn't Hutch?
Carrie. I think it was Carrie. Carrie reached out to me directly. It was a direct email, reach out, and said, hey, can we do something that's not always at 2 o'clock where the track's really slick, right? And I'm okay with that, We did that, but we did it basically 2 o'clock or nighttime. That's kind of what we were doing.
Yeah.
So if you look on the schedule on the website, we do have a website. It's out there. If you look, you'll see that the start times are there. Some start at like 9 in the morning. Some start at 1. So there's no rhyme or reason necessarily to a lot of them, just other than the fact that, I just randomly chose start times. And we still have an night racer too.
Do they all have time advance built into them?
No.
Good.
No time.
Awesome.
No time advance. So it would be an hour. It would be from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, basically.
Right. Good. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, we only did the time advance just for the
Endurance.
quote unquote endurance to try to simulate like a long race, which was interesting. I thought it made it fun. That was dark. Those dark tracks are dark.
Yeah, I mean, man, when we go through like 8 hours of track changes inside too, the car's like, what the fuck do you want from me?
Coda in the dark. God, that was something. You just had to trust the turn was there when you took it. It was
I'm
crazy.
glad I missed that.
That was brutal.
But it was equally brutal on all of us.
Yep.
On all of us. All right. That's all of my notes and my year in review and what we're doing coming up soon. By the way, start times, just again so everybody knows, we're starting the GT3 series immediately after the 24-hour race, because I know a lot of us are preparing for the 24-hour race. Every one of us on this video right now, we are preparing for the 24-hour race. But it's going to start... where's it at? I think I got them in my notes somewhere.
Yeah, we late January.
Yeah, it is January. It's like the third week.
Almost February.
Yeah, it's
I
almost
think
February.
Weekend of the 19th to the 21st, I think.
So for all of us that are running the 24 hours of Daytona, we're going to run it that weekend. That following Thursday, you got 80 more minutes on the track. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right?
Should be able to do it in your sleep.
You should.
That's right.
Could be the same car even.
Different car.
Especially after the roar.
Some of us are going to be doing that in our sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. And you will be.
The 24, fuck. I don't remember the last 30 miles.
I've always said it should be a 48-hour race anyway.
Oh, wow. Ken would die because Ken refuses to sleep.
Yeah.
We would lose
Yeah, I'm the
Ken.
same.
I would be too.
And just so everybody knows, during the rest of the off season, we've got about a month, a little less than a month. I'll be throwing up on Tuesday nights. We're going to do a bunch of oval open races, which those have actually been quite a bit of fun. I know,
Yep.
Ed, you've showed up to them. Ken, you and I have. And I mean, we had almost full field a couple of weeks. It was,
Yep.
and not as bad as I thought they would be. I thought we would have a lot more carnage.
Pretty good racing out there.
But anyways, we'll put those up every week. And then on Thursdays, for the near future, I'm probably just going to put up Daytona 24-hour practices, mainly because you get huge numbers of people that join those. And maybe we can use that as a way to recruit people to the GT3 series. So I'll be putting those up every Thursday night. Maybe as we get near the end, I might throw up some other just GT3 races. I don't know.
And I know Ed's throwing a lot of them out there too the last couple nights and all that too. So thank you to guys who belong to the league and are doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and if you could use them to help recruit, that would even be better. So anyhow, that's all I got. Anybody got anything else you want to share? Ken, don't tell me you left us without a joke.
I got one.
Ah,
I got one.
we're losing Chris.
Man, no dad
Uh-oh.
joke?
I do have one. Where's Chris go?
He heard the Ken dad joke and he got the hell out of here.
Yeah. Why can't Japanese people have Oh shit! I screwed it up already.
They get through, my friend.
Forget it. Let's just skip it.
I was kind of wondering though if it was one we needed to go. If we needed to go that route, I mean, it's just kind of like you started
Yeah,
up the
might have
gay
been
and
one you
lesbians
may
last
wanna
time.
had
This time we had
to-
Japanese. I'm like, maybe we stop there.
You might have would have had to edit it out anyway. So probably better off this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, again, thanks everybody for a wonderful year. For the people that the 5 people that do watch this, thanks for the wonderful year. Really hope we have a great year next year. Again, help us. We need your help building this. If you know people that might be interested, please.
Where'd you go, Chris?
Bring them in.
Where are you? I don't see you.
You shrunk a little bit.
Yeah, you sounded a little slurred. There he is.
You're on mute.
He's from Florida. Give him a break.
Yeah, I guess.
Them Florida guys.
All right. By the way, I won't be here next week, Ken, so I'll put the hosted stuff up. Hopefully you and Shane can run those. I don't know if anybody here, like Ed, I may put you as an admin too, so you'll have control in case some asshole gets in there, you need to kick or whatever.
You better be careful about that.
You're all fucked.
We just had a hosted session. And he kicked half the league.
I did not.
Hey, I want to thank you 3 guys for joining us tonight. Eric, especially, we haven't seen you for a while, and Chris, we haven't seen you for a bit. So welcome back, guys. And Ed, me and Kevin know we can rely on you and all that. So thanks for joining us tonight, guys. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys for having me.
And
Yeah, I
Chris,
appreciate you guys. I'm hoping to be back some more consistent now that I'm settled in my new house and ready to go.
Now you just moved to Tampa, right? Is that where you?
Yeah, just south of Tampa. So
Okay.
I finally got set up and I'm good to go. So
I'll be in Orlando again here in about a week and a half, just so you know, because
I'm not
Julie
surprised.
has to go take a class from Disney for her travels. So anyhow,
And Eric, how are you doing?
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me in here tonight. I hope everybody had a good Christmas and your New Year's is good. And just one thing to think about for your next podcast is get ready for the rain coming and what you're going to do with that. So good luck with those decisions.
we're going to turn it on. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make it random if that's the option.
Full on rain.
Yeah.
So Eric, great having you back. I hope we get to see you some more. Hopefully your seasonal work slowed down so we can have you back on the track for a while. Look forward to being around you on the track often.
Yeah, definitely. January 25th is circled already, Daytona again, and we're going to hit Thursday nights hard.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. And with that, say goodbye, Ken.
Goodbye, Ken.
Peace.
I can.
See ya.
You can.